on, stop fighting me. There we go. Switch this over. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Sweet. All right. Resolved. Boom. Technical difficulties. Smite it away. I don't know why a karate chop is smite, but that's what it is now.
What it is now.
So if we look here, we have Google, AMD. Who else do we have? Let's check. PayPal and GM. I'm bearish on GM. Let's look at, pull this back up, get this back up. Bearish on GM, who's been running up into the close. We see the SPY's doing well, but we've been getting those, our power hour has been more like a 15, power 15, fat 15. Tesla has been down on the day. Apple rallied up, but it's still negative on the day as well. QQQ's really been leading the way, and it looks like we have some more upside. What's really interesting to me with these earnings coming up is I want to see how these sentiments affect Shop. If we see Shop break the 1,000, we could see 1050 come pretty quickly, and it looks like the options are pretty reasonable on that bad boy too. Taking a look at this on the other screen. Pretty low in the volume though. Yeah, we're really heavy. A lot of people think 1,000's on the way, and then 1,050 is big too. Look at that. Even some 1100s. I think that could easily happen. I think this could take a quick jump to 110. I'm sorry, 1100. So that's very interesting. Sono just said that they're going to potentially get into the headphones, and this stock, if we actually go ahead and expand this, as you can see, we hit these highs, the sector leader, some fall off with the housing, which was expected, and then we're coming off the lows, so I started accumulating back around here. I unloaded around here after the announcement of some changes in buyout potential, because this was my big buyout player. So kind of pick it back up because I still think they make great products, and I would love to actually pick up a pair of headphones if they started making them. Steven, did you look into that Apple rumor? And there's the drop off I was expecting.
Not really. Didn't really pan out that great. It was just like it'd probably be a good idea if they did, because I mean, they already make good headphones, and how better expand your moat by buying out the competition. So
yeah. I also don't know if Sonos would want to sell. They've been doing
that's true.
They've been doing acquisitions themselves, and
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, they're profitable company, cash on hand, doing acquisitions, not that afraid of tightening. They're performing well. Amazon back above 3,000.
Apple doesn't really seem to want to buy out companies either. Like, when was the last time they bought something out?
This is true, but I think it's because of that's why when you said that I was so suspicious, because they haven't made any finalizations on on like how future acquisitions will go for the big tech companies. But I know that they're definitely.
Remember, we were all talking about them buying out Peloton a while ago.
Oh my gosh, Peloton. That was back in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 2 years ago when we were kind of having that big conversation.
Yeah, they never pulled through. I mean, it would have been, I don't know how good of an investment that would have been for them, but SPY sold off a little bit.
We're definitely seeing some lackluster bond movements too. So in other news, Fed Bullard said that he saw that the market was anticipating 5 rate hikes, and he thought that was reasonable. He wants to raise at the March meeting, and he would like to raise in May as well, if he was deciding today. Tesla launched a new charge stats feature to give owners more access to their charging info and savings. So this is on the app, by the way, in case people are confused. Oh yeah, and let's actually throw Spotify up here, because I've been loving the performance of this company. Who do I want to?
Really?
Yeah. Let's go.
Spotify's been one of those rough ones for the past minute.
Yeah, look, it's still up 3%. Look at the strength today.
Yeah, that has a lot of volume today too.
Yeah, real strong. I like it. I mean,
This is
basically, I'm no longer thinking of Spotify as just a sound company. I'm thinking them as like a
Media.
news media. They're setting the news cycle because of the JRE podcast. And I know there's lots of controversy about that. I think it's probably the dumbest thing ever. Spotify is awesome. This company's making all the right decisions. They're not caving into these ravenous Twitter mobs. Hey, Austin, tell him to get close to the webcam because we're recording.
Wait, come here.
Come here.
I can't hear you. But
bend down a little bit so we can see the hoodie.
we want to see the hoodie. They want to see the hoodie in the webcam. We're recording this.
Yeah, there we go. You can see Austin there wearing some of our gear. Make sure you check out the link down below. It's one of our swing traders in the Discord. And so there's also expectations that the jobs data will also be really bad. So this is something that also hit the headlines today. And we're not trading into the close, by the way. I'm holding no short-term positions.
Looks gas.
I know. Of course, if you want to see my trades, check the link down below, and you'll get access to this whole section of the Discord. So we saw lots of bearish stuff today. Getting back to the news, China is definitely someone to look at because of these housing issues right now, and it was pretty essential that we saw some bounce back there heading into the Chinese New Year, because that's usually a pretty high demand time for housing purchases in China, and we saw that come in mediocre, which means that we could see this financial crisis economic crisis in China really hit some pretty volatile times. It could get pretty rough, and this could ripple out to the market as well. And we've seen them do pretty poorly. Their market do pretty poorly as well. While everyone else has been kind of green, they've been roughing it. These semiconductor companies also, like if we look at Lam here, who should be. What's Lam Research ticker? That's right.
Netflix is pumping into the close.
I don't really trade this company.
They've been ripping the last 2 days.
Who's that? Netflix?
Yeah, Netflix is going crazy.
Yeah, that
right
big.
now.
Yeah, it also got pumped by a bunch of hedge fund managers, which I mean, I think it's a pretty decent time to buy Netflix after that earnings drop off. I don't own any Netflix. I'm not really, I don't really jump up and down about Netflix stock just because I don't know how they, I don't know how they plan on expanding their IP. Even though I think they're pretty good, like Spotify. They don't cave into nonsensical. That
was huge this year.
Yeah, they don't cave into social justice warrior cries, which I think is important because their shop.
Really?
Let's see if it can hold. I don't think market can hold. Market's really denying that. Strange to see the dollar come down. I thought we'd continue to see a breakout there. But VIX has dropped considerably. It's strange to not see the market react at all to any of the bearish macro stuff that we've seen as of recent too. Anyways, back to these semiconductor companies. I think undervalued. And you know what? Who else is undervalued? I think right now, Micron Technology, who's actually down on the day. Weird to see these two down. They should not be down. But what's going on here and what's really important and why I think Micron Technology should definitely not be getting punished as heavily as it is. I mean, here we're looking at Micron Technology has no competition, and they're unlikely to have competition for years. They're so far ahead of the game for what they do. And they have probably the least amount of supply chain issues compared to these other companies. Now, when we're talking about China and issues with China, If China sees an economic downturn and things get volatile there, that could be more disruption to the supply chains. They're also dealing with issues when it comes to like the virus being really rampant there, and they're closing down factories. There's all sorts of turmoil going on in China that's not hitting the news. These could affect GM, it could affect Ford, it could affect the semiconductor companies. Now, is this going to mean that these companies are not going to be able to see any growth? No, I don't think so. I think with the new government legislation, which we talked about in one of our shorts, go make sure you go watch that. I think it's really positive. I think it's a really good sign. I'm not too worried about that, although I think Intel will probably lead the way when it comes to domestic production. Intel might be also maybe a provider for some of these other companies. Maybe they want to be the manufacturer. Now the likelihood of that is extremely low. It's highly speculative because obviously there's a bunch of competitive issues there, and legalities of probably don't want your competitors making your chips for you. So. But it's something to consider, especially with 3D printing companies. We could see them hit some exponential growth like these semiconductor companies. And no one's talking about these 3D printer companies, which have greatly increased their technology, which makes it easier for them to create this high tech. And semiconductors are definitely the main thing that we should be talking about, considering that this is the technology that's being used for literally everything. Even biotech is using semiconductors. And it comes down to, you have to deal with these giant genomic databases, and, pretty much they're trying to map out pretty much every organism and then put it all into one database. These are massive databases that they're then sweeping through to make research easier. And it gives huge advantages to the research process. So if you've ever dug into Twist Biosciences, give that a look-see, because it's so impressive to see what these companies are doing and the type of advancements they're doing, not just in the advancements on the medical side of things and all the different conditions and diseases that they are working on cures for, but even just the rate at which they can conduct the research is also improved substantially. So I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Of course, when it comes to biotech, one of the big things that we need to be aware of, biotech and crypto, really is future regulation, because obviously our 70 and 80-year-old constituents in the government are just completely so far behind on the advancements that are occurring in the world today, which is why it made me really sad when I saw that Nancy Pelosi is in fact not retiring. I thought she would get out of Dodge with all the headwinds that the banning on an insider trading is getting, considering that that's probably the only thing that's actually kept her in office, was the ability to print millions and millions and millions. But nonetheless, and we all know my opinions on the ban on insider trading as well. I hope that they don't. It seems like they've pulled back a lot since I made that video, though. They've even said that constituents will be able to buy ETFs, and I think that's a very, very, very reasonable compromise to make there. What I didn't want to see is them completely blocked from any market accessibility at all. I thought that would be terrible. And I also think it's important to keep an eye on what cryptos they're buying, because they're about to do a bunch of crypto regulations. So, and they know which ones are coming up. So if you haven't dug into that, maybe dig into it. Maybe I'll do a little short about it. Dig myself. We'll see that coming up. We're coming into new highs, and we're down to our 10 minutes into the close. Look at that. Broke right through. Whew. Now, is Google actually moving? It's weird to see Tesla not move with this. It's Apple's so hard. It's so hard to actually call this bearish. Now, with the big thing with Google, let me bring this down so you can see my face again. We'll keep an eye on Google. Look at all the volume on Google. Look how big that candle is. Woo. That's a fat candle. Yeah, it is a fat candle. Just want to see these earnings play out, though. No real reason to play into it. The big thing with Google, if Google can fix the cookie issues with Apple, this stock will blow up. It will be, yes. This stock easily could push, I want to say 2,900 to 3,000 a share. If we get some news that they've resolved the Apple cookie issues. It's so big because remember, this company, a huge portion of their revenues comes from advertising, and what cratered a lot of these companies on last earnings was the Apple changes that gave advertisers less data. So it affected all the other companies that operate through Apple that need that data, but it also negatively affected Google, especially since they have such a huge portion of that. It's definitely weighting the stock down. Now, remember, if you've watched our previous videos, so it hurt Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and Pinterest,
all of them.
Yeah. And by the way, I saw that Pinterest is going to have AR technology for furniture. At first, I thought that was really bullish, and I was feeling really good about that. But then I started thinking about it. One of the things, and people are always skeptical when I say this, but let me tell you right now, this is important. This is important. If your stock that you're looking at is an app, visit the app stores. Make sure that your preferred advertising is off and see what the plain page looks like. Do not look at the page that's been, that has the algo sweep through it and tell you what's for you. Look at the plain page. If you're doing it on an Apple device, it'll always ask you. Say no. Always say no. And then look who are the top free apps and who's making. And the what's also really important is those editor lists. So like when it comes to like must-have apps, I think is what Apple calls theirs. Always dig through those. If you dig through those, you can't even find Pinterest. You can't even. It's like maybe 25 on the editors list, and on the free apps list, you can't even find it. But who you can find? You can always find Snapchat near the top of those lists. Snapchat
top 3.
Yeah, top 3. Sometimes top 10 when it's down. When you have which celebrity?
Other apps going crazy.
Which celebrity caused the stock to tank? I forget who that was. Was it Kim? I think it was Kim Kardashian.
It was Kim. Yeah, you're right.
So, but Snapchat has a different way that they do their ad data, and I think they were actually least affected by the Apple thing. And this is something they reiterated in their earnings call as well, but market still left them punished. So when it comes to Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat, and Pinterest, I like Snapchat best. And Snapchat's been doing really good today, outperforming both of those. And let's look at Pinterest. And Pinterest just has a very select following, and I think as these home sales fall off, it'll hurt them even more. We see the stock hitting $30, and honestly, I'm not even opposed to shorting this into earnings. Of course, it'd probably be best to set up that short now because before tomorrow, before Facebook announces their earnings, because all these stocks that you see here on the top row are going to trend with whatever Facebook delivers tomorrow. And when it comes to Twitter, we're seeing Twitter ramp up. I hate Twitter. I think Twitter is going to the garbage. I think they signed their death. Here we see Google taking off. Everything should start following it.
CEO.
Yep.
Hasn't it? The stock's only gone down since the CEO switch, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. CEO's awful. They couldn't have had a worse CEO. The dude's completely anti-free speech. He thinks he's like the sole arbiter of truth. He thinks he knows better than everyone else, knows better than the general public, and he's just drinking. I don't know what Kool-Aid he's drinking because
all of it. Even
Dorsey was not.
Dorsey's
not
really
like
cool
that at any point. Yeah, so it's extremely annoying to see, and I don't invest in companies like that because they don't have longevity. Just like any country that's trying to incorporate that had no longevity, and it's like Facebook started to die because of stuff like this. So people are gonna take a step back. They're gonna pick up whatever alternative comes their way, especially when some of these politics die down. That's when they're gonna hurt them most. Because right now they're just benefiting from angry people who have nothing to do but just hang out on Twitter all day. So,
They have to get jobs eventually.
or do something. Or do something.
Anything better with your
I'll
life.
I'll make
Like,
a I'll make a comment to someone on. I made a comment to someone the other day on Twitter. We were having a little disagreement, and the guy proceeded to spam message me for 12 hours straight. And then
who remembers stuff for that long?
who dwells on anything for that long that occurs
Literally.
online? Twitter's not a real place, dude. Like, go live your
Yeah, it's
life.
yeah.
And
People say dumb shit on the internet all the time. If you don't agree with it, cool.
yeah, and so he hounded me, and then ended it with, I don't even really care. Like, okay, you're a child, got it. Like,
Cracking.
yeah.
Lots of volume coming in on the close
Yeah.
and spy.
Looking great. I'd love to see Snapchat leading the day. My word.
Twitter's running up into close too.
Yeah, I
But
know. I'm kind of wondering if if I want to put it in a put on Twitter into the bell. Interesting. Is QQQ still outperforming SPY? It is. And by the way, if you're looking at this and you, this is usually on a separate screen for me. I have it here just for visibility for this recording. I almost said stream, but only streaming to the Discord for now. Maybe on YouTube and Twitch in the future. But this is just usually on a separate screen for me when I'm watching it, and then I have actually my Webull and my Fidelity, because I'm managing multiple accounts, so they're all open in front of me. So
uranium came back up a little bit.
I saw that. Energy's been performing well.
I think part of that is just because of the Russia-Ukraine stuff is over too. Well, not over, but it's not headlines, so it's basically not happening in the market's eyes.
Kind of. There was some headlines, and China also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, China also walked back on some agreements that they were supposed to be making on competitive agreements. So we've been seeing some, breakdown in communication between the world powers, and Russia's been very competitive with verbally competitive with NATO. So it's probably not the right word to use when talking about that. QQQ is leading the way. Some profit taking into Google right before their earnings. It's very normal.
Yeah.
We should start. I mean, this is not a rally I'd want to FOMO in. I didn't even want to day trade it just because we keep getting these quick gap downs. These are market makers and profit takers right here playing against it. Also important to remember, we saw lots of hedging yesterday into that huge rally day. So remember that, and I think most of that's in anticipation of the fact that there's still monetary tightening going down. And so,
Yep.
It's a rough one coming into the close. Stocks mostly green. Let's see. Is our mid caps, are they surviving? Are they doing well? IWM getting a 1% on the day. Spotify.
We did really good today.
A little baby. Weed. Let's check the ETF. Yeah, 7%. That's excellent. A penny stock I like. Market just closed. It's MindMed. This has been getting like solid performance. Today. Yep, at 8%. Yesterday was like 10%. I think it ended up selling off probably about 8%. 8% day over day is great. This company has the most patents in the industry when it comes to psychedelics. And
easy to load up on shares if it goes up.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Let's go ahead and see if I want to hang out to see what Google announces or when we're going to get that announcement. Yeah, so let's actually...
Okay.
Let's get AMD here. Now, if AMD's bearish, I would expect support at the 110, 111 level. Looks like we're getting a rally for initial reaction. Nice. Ooh. On the upper end, I'm seeing 130, 140. Actually, let's extend this. It's my old DD. Yeah, I'd like to see Hmm. So actually, we really just need to break that 25.
AMD's fallen.
It is. Let's see if that 110, 111 holds. We just also need to actually get the report done. All of this is just noise until they actually get that report coming in. And let me pull this on the screen real quick. Quickly go over the economic data. Jobs, openings, still really high. Still beating consensus. Still increasing month over month. Manufacturing PMI on a slight decline. Remember yesterday we actually had numbers that signified still high inflation. Tomorrow we want to see this employment change. Later in the month we'll also get our non-manufacturing PMI. And then this is going to be really important. Remember Friday unemployment rate for January, huge. There's been several announcements today that this would not go well. So keep that in mind as well. That's got to be on your radar. And remember, if you subscribe to the Discord, you'll get these updated every Sunday night, as well as upcoming earnings for companies. And I will give also live news feeds on crypto and the market as well. And make sure to check out the TikTok and the YouTube. You're watching this on YouTube. So thanks for checking out the YouTube. Great job. You're awesome. So let's actually start to look at when Google will be dropping this report. Google.
Big straight. Goddamn, Chase. I'm just putting the shoe on. Yeah.
You talking about Chase's great trade?
His VIX trade, yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah, he did a great job.
That's incredible.
Nothing in Google yet. AMD.
Good for him.
Nothing in AMD yet. We'll just leave this up. Google coming in big. 2810. Look at that. All right, so remember to check out the Twitter. Let me pull this right over. Check me out on Twitter, and you can get more recaps on this. Nobel Trading, where you can get all the updates. Stay in the know. This is going to be it. Let me know if you like this, if I should start doing these half hour to market, kind of do a recap on the news and what's going on. This will also give some more consistent content on YouTube. We'll still do the Nobel Trading Show, but even members in the Discord have been like, I don't know why you don't do live streams. This is as close as I'm going to get live streams for now, but in the future, maybe we'll do some Twitch and some YouTube. So I'll probably be more prone to stick to just YouTube rather than additionally doing Twitch, although I do believe that I already created the Twitch channel. So I don't know. Leave a comment down below. What do you think? Be happy to know. I'll see you tomorrow, and I hope you had a wonderful afternoon, and stay in the know with these markets, all right? It's dangerous, but don't worry. By the end of the year, we're going to be killing it.